Hello, PBO people. I am Don Colbus, Charleston Chestnuts, and I'm with Jarv here tonight. And we're gonna do some Crystal PRs. Week 5 Crystal PRs. Your special Crystal. You're the only ones getting Week 5 PRs. You guys know how PRs work. Let's just get right into it.
Hold on. What's the vibe? How are we
Oh,
feeling week
what's
five in
the
the
vibe?
PBO?
Week 5 in the PBO. I'm feeling a bit of tension. Some people are feeling real good about their teams. Some people are starting to feel pretty bad about their teams. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some drops coming up here.
How about Crystal as a
Maybe not
whole?
necessarily in Crystal. Yeah, Crystal. Honestly, this div has kind of shaped up to be pretty balanced. I think, kind of like the preseason PRs were. Um, like what we all said, these teams were relatively similar. It's still relatively balanced. Some people have separated more towards the front and back as the season has gone on, but for the most part, the div's still pretty close overall. It's still a competitive div.
Fun div.
Absolutely. Crystal, second best div, only behind Sunset. All right, let's get to number 14.
Number 14, the Norwalk Noiverns.
Yeah, Norwalk's had an unfortunate season so far. Lost his first 3 games of the season. They weren't like particularly atrocious losses. 3-0 loss to Limber Luchadores Voids. Excuse me. Who is SS again?
Lyrics.
Lyric, Scottish Stoutlands. The 0-2 loss to Scottish Stoutlands, who's having a great season so far. A 3-0 loss to Long. Is it Long? Ooh,
Island.
Obscuretisms. Yeah, I know it's Obscuretisms. And then the last 2 weeks, he just hasn't been around. He hasn't responded to anything. He's forfeited. So if he forfeits one more time, he will be removed and replaced with another coach for the remainder of the season. Um, in those games, though, he's kind of just been struggling with I think closing out the games. I remember in the game against Long Island, he brought agility contrary Enam, so he just cut his own speed in half, and the game was kind of over from there. I don't remember many of these other games too well. Uh, do you remember these games very well, Jarth?
I mean, they were fine. I think when I did Crystal PRs last season, and when we talked about this team at the beginning, um, it's like okay, there are some things that are awkward about the team that we personally like don't love, right? Whether it's like the Skeledirge or your removal is like this Sand Slash because you don't want to run in the Quackwaval, and you don't have great removal, but you're still running like with an Enam. Um, but this is how Norwalk likes to play, and we've seen some interesting kind of tidbits. Like there was a Sash Doug Trio, I want to say it was the
That
Limber
was Long
Luchadores.
Island.
It was Long
No, it
Island
was
with
in
the
Long
with the
Island because it
Orgerpon,
was yeah.
and it was sub into Exeter maybe. Um, so the Doug Trio had a focus sash. The Orgerpon subbed. It broke the sub, and then there was an Exeter kill, I think. Uh,
No, it was the Sand Slash that killed with Leech Life.
Fan slash with the Leech Life. God, all these mons with their random bug moves. So it's not like we haven't seen like flashes of the typical Norwalk, but just in combination with the last 2 weeks, which I would have expected them to pick up a win or two if they were around, but they haven't been around. So for that reason and that reason, maybe not only, but largely, they're our bottom pick. Hope to hear from them. Hope to see them more in the PBO in the future. If they're no longer with us in the next week or two, then we'll have someone else come in and hopefully give us some good matches down the stretch.
Yeah. I just went back real quick and I looked at the week 2 game against Lyrics, and I noticed a couple of things. First, he kind of just sacked the Ting Lu for nothing in front of the Corviknight. He just kind of sat there and let himself get body pressed. And like he had options. He could have gone into like Enam, or I think Blow King was around at that point. He had like his whole team was alive, and he just sacked his Ting Lu. Well, like he got rocks up the Corviknight defogged, and then he just sat there. So that's definitely like the kind of thing that's messing with Norwalk right now. He's kind of just sacking a lot of his team members. In Lyric's game, though, he did also get very unlucky. He like low rolled all of his attacks with Quick Wave, and if he didn't low roll, he would have won. So like it just wouldn't. It made it so that he couldn't break Corviknight. So that's like something to consider. He got pretty unlucky against Lyrics, but overall, even with that in mind, it's just kind of not his season. I think he is out of playoffs at this point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would be surprised if Norwalk doesn't finish out the season just because he's out of contention at this point.
If we hear from him.
Maybe he plays just to avoid relegation, but who knows?
Moving on, our number 13. And by the way, for those of you at home saying, well, this is the number 13 team in the standings, but it's number 14 on the power rankings, we don't care. These are power rankings. We've watched the games, we've analyzed the teams, we've analyzed the coaches and their play. These are power rankings. That being said, the number 13 team is the Cherry Hill Bellsprouts.
Yeah, I think this is just a case of someone drafting a team style they're not comfortable with. Cherry Hill historically has been a big fan of fat. He'll run like the Iron Hands. He had Terapagos last season. He had Rotom Heat to kind of keep screens up and also keep up that defensive type chart. But Sun is just very, very fast, and it's very not defensive, I guess. You have the Terra Hydrapple, which is doing okay, but other than that, there's not a whole lot going on with this team. Venusaur's gotten 3 kills, Thunders has 3 kills, Hydrapple has 2, Gouging is 2. It's almost like the Sun mode isn't doing that much work. But I think we're at the point in the season, and the team is just built in a way that you're just so committed to Sun, you can't move past it. I mean, yeah, this team kind of suffers from having not a real round 1 pick, and overall, it's just Cherry Hill's also out of playoff contention at this point, which is unfortunate because we love Cherry Hill here in the PBO. He's been here a long time. He used to be in the Sunset, but now it's just been a rough season for him. It's just sometimes you got to stick with what works for you, and I just don't think Sun is that for Cherry Hill.
And just to kind of put some, not put some, for a grain of salt here, right? Of 4 of the 5 losses from Cherry Hill, it's the Erie Oshawotts, the Chicago Chimchars, the Scottish Stoutlands, and the Black Diamond Tyranitars. Like literally 4 of our top 5 teams.
Top 4 teams. Yeah, that's very true. Going up against some very tough competition. So like the rest of the season is like significantly easier for Cherry Hill. You have Metro Boomburstin, who hasn't won a game yet, except for forfeit wins. You have Norwalk Noiverns, who also hasn't won a game yet. And then you have Long Island Tyranitar. Not Tyranitar. Is it Tyranitars?
It is Tyranitars.
Long Island Tyranitar? Okay. Long Island Tyranitars, who has won some games and would probably be the most difficult of the remaining matchups. But I honestly kind of don't think that matchup is bad. It's Sun into Wogers, so you have a lot working in your favor in that game.
Yeah, really tough schedule. I think based
sure.
on our history with Cherry Hill in Sunset, we would have expected him to pick up a win or two. But again, tough team, kind of setting their ways play style. I know in that Lyrics game, I think Lyrics went down Amon like first turn, and Lyrics was able to like claw his way back. Yeah, sometimes it's how it goes in the PBO.
Hold on, what week was that game? Week 4?
I think I'm getting these games right. They all blur together.
No, you're right. I'm just trying to find it real quick, see exactly what happened.
Sydney, put it up on the screen.
Yeah, Sydney, do everything for me. Sydney, give me $1 million. Actually, it looks like a pretty drawn out game here. This Grimmsnarl actually stayed. Oh, never mind. It stayed on the team for most of the first 16 turns, and it just died without doing much of anything.
Was that the Spirit Break
yeah.
spam game?
Maybe I'm kind of skipping through turns here. It was dual screens. It clicked Spirit Break like once. But yeah, overall it's just been rough. I don't think we have anything else to say. We're kind of just repeating ourselves at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see him come out with 2 or 3 wins at the end, but
for sure, yeah, he's definitely getting into the easier part of his schedule here.
Yeah. So, number 12, Metro Boomburstin.
Metro Boomburstin. 2-3 record sounds pretty solid to be at number 12, but then you look at the schedule here and you realize that those 2 wins were forfeit wins. So Metro Boomburstin hasn't actually won a game that they've played, which is unfortunate because this team is like really strong. You have Terra Gren, you have Dio, you have Terra Hands, Lycan Dusk. It's a solid team. But unfortunately, I think the play just hasn't exactly been there. Um, Scottish Stoutlands game, I think a lot of the play from both teams in that game were really questionable. We were kind of like sacrificing pieces we didn't need to, making calls we didn't need to, things like that, and it really just cost June the game here. I think I remember the Dio set was really questionable that game. I think I don't remember for sure, but I mean, yeah. The week after that against Long Island, June was kind of just one Dark Pulse flinch away from winning. Like that game, from what I've seen, I think was the best played game so far from her. It was a really close game. Woger is at like 12% or something, and it was the last guy alive. So if Grant had just gotten a Dark Pulse flinch, the game was definitely 100% over. As for the week 4 game, I don't remember that one off the top of my head, but I can probably find it real quick. Week 4. Right here. Was this the Dunsparce game? Oh, okay. Gengar missed a Focus Blast, and then yeah, this Dunsparce got crazy value, and yeah, basically, June just like wasn't able to do much into the Dunsparce. It was just like pretty standard Roost, Glare, Boomburst, Dragon Tail set. It eventually went down, but like only after kind of destroying a good chunk of the team, and then after that, it was what happened? Was it Urshifu? Yeah, Urshifu went pretty crazy, pivoting around with U-turn. So yeah, basically, I think with this team, it's just been kind of a mismanagement of pieces during the games, sacking some things or sacrificing too much HP on things, which leads to a messy end game that she can't quite clutch up.
So, with that being said, taking a look at June's rest of schedule, at maybe some of the stats on the Mons, like I'm looking at the 1 and 2 Greninja, what would be some points of feedback or some things to kind of keep in mind if maybe you're playing June and they're on your schedule?
So if I'm playing against this team, I'm kind of nervous because this team is good. Like I do like this team, but I don't know if there is a but.
This team is good.
What are you thinking if you're playing this team?
I mean, maybe I'm starting to come around on this idea that if your number one Mon isn't doing so hot, it means you've built your team pretty well, and you see that with the Iron Hands being the top kill leader for June at 6-3. So maybe, again, the Gren is one flinch away from maybe this being a completely different story, and we frame this differently. And again, they've only played once in the past 3 weeks. I think there are definitely some winnable matchups. We already talked about Cherry Hill and Pittsburgh and the Limber Luchadores are both kind of either out of contention, not out of contention, but they're on that playoff bubble, but currently not in playoffs. So these are very winnable games. I think it's just a question of like, how can you best utilize the supports on your team to position like the Iron Hands or the Greninja. Right, you have fast rock support in Kabalion, you have like slow pivot in Swampert, you have Dio Speed as the if you want to use it as like the screens lead or like the spike stacker. I think there are a lot of options to get into winning position with the hands of the Greninja, but thus far that is not it is not played like that. The games have been a bit sloppier where I just came out of this MCA season where I was playing with the Iron Hands, right? And every single game, I'm running like max HP, near max special defense, getting a Swords Dance off, and then clicking Drain Punch or clicking a move that's going to be super effective into the Mon that's coming in. I'd like to see a little bit more of that. There has been kind of that effort, but it's really, can I get the necessary chip on the mons that are going to come in and able to soak up like one hit from the Iron Hands, because you're really trying to preserve that HP, and it can't be something that switches in and out a lot if you're going to use that as like your win condition set.
I think another thing with this team is it does suffer a good bit from what I'm going to start calling the Chicago problem, insofar that when you have two guys that are really reliant on Terra, two or more Pokemon that are really reliant on Terra, uh, it really starts eating into your overall firepower. Because I think Iron Hands has Terra almost every game this season, which means that you don't really have a round one pick. Greninja without Terra is not a round one pick. It's just not. It doesn't have the oomph anymore.
Mm.
But in like I think we see, because like if we go back to the Obscurantisms game, what if Greninja was Terra Dark, or what if Greninja was Terra Electric? Then you wouldn't have needed a Dark Pulse Flinch. I think it was Terra Water that game, but regardless, if it had like been able to be the Terra instead of Iron Hands, then it would have been able to, like, if you had a strong round one guy that's like as strong as Terra Gren but doesn't need the Terra, then you're in so much better of a spot than you are with Iron Hands, or even vice versa. If you have Terra Gren and then a third guy who's as strong as Terra Hands but doesn't need the Terra, you're in a much better spot. So I think the meta is like, or at least in the way the team building works here, is it's just better to have one main Terra guy and then some backup options that can do it if you need to. Because right now I think it's hurting. I think it's hurting June, because if we look at, I think it was also the Obscurantisms game. The Iron Hands was Terra Steel, presumably to deal with the Geezing, and then it like wasn't Heavy Slam for some reason, but it boosts up, it ends up beating the Geezing, but then it kind of just dies. It ends up like almost dying. I think it takes out a Latias on the way out with it, but like in the end, it didn't really need the Terra that much. And then like Greninja kind of just piddled out in the end game. So really, I think this team just needs more careful planning around the Terra pieces, and maybe I think the Dio sets have also not been great. So if you can figure out better Dio sets, then I think it'll be better. Because I think that was another reason that the Obscurantisms game was lost, was because the Deoxys speed did like 34% to Orgerpon with Psycho Boost. It's like we can't be having that. Like that's pathetic. In my opinion, if you're running Psycho Boost, you pretty much always need to be like Life Orb or some boosting item, and you need to be like max modest. You need to be juicing your damage. Otherwise, if you're running a support set, you can start messing around with other things, but I wouldn't usually do Psycho Boost, personally.
And maybe run more offensive sets, right? Lycanroc's only come to
Sure.
one game. It's not on the screen right now, but I want to say Gengar has come to one game. In the
Yeah, it
game
came to
against Long
the
Island,
Sparks game.
Kabalion, right? Great speed tier, even if it's kind of lacking in coverage. I want to say it like set rocks and then got paralyzed, and then it was kind of useless after that.
I think that was the Obscurantisms game because it was paired by the Zapdos.
Yeah. You can just chunk things with so many of your fast, frailish mons, and then in comes Greninja or Iron Hands. And maybe, so this is the pushback that I have against Don about having one Terra Captain. I have the Quavel and the Mew. And what I love doing is I love putting the one in such a dangerous position without having to commit Terra, that it forces all these resources. And then in comes in my Terra Captain that I'm actually going to Terra with. I think there are a lot of ways to kind of play that and force the issue. And that's not really what I've seen from June so far, at least with the use of Greninja and Iron Hands together as partners.
I think the difference here between like a team like your team and a team like June's team is the fact that June's round one Pokemon. Round one Pokemon is a Terra Captain.
Yeah.
Yours isn't. And on top of that, your other guys are also not entirely reliant on Terra to be like putting in crazy work. Like Mew, you can say is a Terra merchant, but it also has perfectly viable support sets that do not need Terra at all.
Yeah.
Duck is like okay without Terra, but like it also doesn't need to come every game.
Right.
But in this case, you need Gren to come every game. You need Iron Hands to come every game. These are your like backbone Pokemon, but your team has guys like Landorus and Volcanion and Roaring Moon to back it up.
Oh,
this team just doesn't.
We're gonna talk about the 0-3 Roaring Moon.
It's still a Roaring Moon, but
It's still a Roaring Moon.
It's besides the point.
I think we can move on.
Probably.
We'll be
We've been
excited to
talking about this
see
for a
the
while.
next week or two for June.
For sure.
At number 11, the Snowpoint City Snowvers. We just saw their week 5 match because you all were able to finish week 5 so quickly, so expeditiously, because we're recording this on a Sunday.
Mhm.
The Uncertain Unknowns match against Rex is fresh in our minds. We did go back and watch several of Lav's prior matches and are prepped for this. What are you thinking right now of Lavs, or if you are Lavs, looking at the rest of their schedule?
The rest of the schedule, we've got is that Drew,
It is Drew.
Black Diamond Tyranitars, Chicago. This is an insane last three to go against.
Last
This
four.
is this is true, yeah, last four. Um Black Diamond T-Tars is 5-0 right now. He's kind of destroying the div, and I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be enough to beat him. He's like on such an insane roll right now. He's been cooking really hard. He's been playing really well. It's going to be a really tough one to beat for that. Chicago, I mentioned in the last one a little bit with the Chicago problem, but he's also been doing pretty well. He's pretty high up there on the list. And then Scottish Stoutlands, also who's been doing pretty well this season. So it is a pretty rough schedule here. I do appreciate the Ursaluna coming so often, and the sets have been pretty cool. Like week one, we had Trailblaze, Throat Chop, Earthquake, Facade on a not Flame Orb Ursaluna, but it didn't end up really doing that much, unfortunately.
I think
Week one, I think was just an unfortunate week.
we saw the Terra Ground setup Comfey go against Rex. I think that'll actually look really good into Drew as well, with the Roaring Moon, with the Aloma Mola. This could be a Comfey week. I like that the Comfey is kind of being put in this sweeper position as a Terra captain. We have seen from other people, like I want to say Mac did it last season, where sometimes he would bait the Comfey as a sweeper and then reveal it has like Encore U-turn. So a
Right.
lot of optionality there. We haven't really seen that much of the Terra Hydreigon. It's only come to 2 games, and I don't know if it Terra'd in either game. It might have Terra'd in 1 game in a losing position.
Um, yeah, it's just kind of been unfortunate for Lavs right now. I think it's like his team is kind of just like Metal's team from last season, except the there are like the two higher tiers being Tornadus and Golden Go. Like past that, everything's kind of in that mid tier range.
Mm-hmm.
I can't appreciate the Corrosion Glamora was brought in week one. I'm a big fan of Corrosion Glam. I've been liking it more and more. It gets around a lot of those steals that want to come in on it. So I like that creativity there. I haven't seen a ton of like the Yuxi here, I think. I don't think it's been coming very much, which I think kind of makes sense because Yuxi is really good at facilitating those like blitz offense guys that are kind of hard to hit the field, require some screens, knock, or T wave support. This team just doesn't really have any of those crazy guys, so
Yeah.
it
The
doesn't really
Ursaluna,
surprise me we
maybe.
haven't seen the Yuxi.
Well, the Uxie was a pickup in week 4. So it's
Oh,
only been
was
on the
it? Oh,
roster
okay,
for a week.
never mind then.
Um,
My apologies.
I was kind of, as I was commentating the game against Rex, right? It was a torn lead, which I think you typically see to kind of to scout out. It's a very not passive, but it's you're okay with taking some level of chip because of the regenerator, and you can kind of knock or you can scout what the other person's going to do. And it led off into this Garchomp that was just able to make huge progress because Lavs went with like a mid-ground U-turn option as opposed to just hitting the thing. Because you have so many what we're going to call mid-tier Mons, you really have to find a way to make progress on the HP of the bulkier Mons on the other side when you can. I'm thinking about, when you play into the Garchomps, the Tinglus, where they just have such an HP pool, the Petrons, you could even throw the upcoming, triple regenerator core from Drew. You gotta keep clicking buttons. That's the kind of big piece of advice, at least coming from me. This team necessitates progress, and even if you're like, okay, I want to set up here, or I want to try to like deny something with like an Encore or like a corrosion glim answer, there has to be like an answer. You know, this team isn't going to be able to stall and hang around for long periods of time. It needs progress in order to set up the end game sweeper, whatever that may be, whether that's the Combine Comfey, the Guts Ursaluna, maybe it's like a Terra Steel Nasty Plot Hydreigon. These things need pieces in order to execute through the end game, and I think that's been a point of struggle so far with Labs.
I would agree with that. I think just not taking your damage on the chomp at the start was definitely a big mistake. Because something that Za says pretty often is that I agree with is that you have to make the play that keeps you from losing the game. So like, if you have a Torn in front of a Garchomp and SD Scale Shot looks that threatening into you, you probably have to make the play that avoids specifically Scale Shot or Sword Stance. And so if that means sacrificing a bunch of HP on your Tornadus, it's unfortunate, but you have to do it because if you don't, you could lose the game on the spot. And that's kind of what happened this week.
Yeah. So I'll kind of stay on the same kind of vein of like the Garchomp, because it's not just a Garchomp problem. The only ground resist on this team is Orgerpon. You have several ground immunities in the Uxie, the Hydreigon, and the Tornadus. But yeah, who has the Excadrill in this division? I don't remember.
I don't remember actually.
I think we'll come up to it, but right, that's another one. It's just these ground type mons who have maybe a different point of coverage, like let's say it's a Mamoswine. They're able to hit this team pretty well. Orgerpon is like your only grass with a lot of like ground weak guys. Kind of makes it really hard. And I don't think the Orgerpon has come.
Yeah, that's because Groger Cleveland here is a bad Pokemon and you shouldn't draft it.
Oh, he's back on that train again.
I never got off that train. Anyways, I think we've talked about this one enough. It's going to be an unfortunate rest of the season. I like this is a really crazy rough rest of the season, like schedule wise. I'm sorry you have to face that, Labs. Good luck.
Good luck. A win though, one of these wins would be huge. Definitely put Lavs out of I would think any chance of relegation. Definitely not going to say, there's no chance that Lavs makes playoffs, but this is a very tough end of the season. And if we're still talking about Lavs when we get to the Week 8 power rankings, then Lavs has put on a show for this.
Absolutely.
Number 10, the Glasgow Glowbros.
All right, so this team has beaten so far. I don't. These acronyms are throwing me off, man.
It's Lavs and June.
Sure, Boomburstin.
The two teams we just looked at.
Okay. So his two wins are above these pretty low-ranked teams. One team that hasn't gotten a win, and one team that's only gotten one against like one of the lowest-ranked teams. So basically, he hasn't had any like crazy notable wins, but it was a 4-0 win against Labs week 1. It was well played. He was leveraging his Shifu Rapid Strike there really well, I think, and then Bellybolt closed it out. If you look at the Pokemon stats here, he's kind of spreading out his kills pretty evenly among his Pokemon here. The Dunsparce went pretty crazy against June in week 4. It was just glaring, detailing, and boom bursting against the Metro Boomburstin. If we look at the rest of the season, we have Klecker into Drew into Chicago. That is another crazy rough schedule. This is gonna be a tough one. What do you think, Jarv?
I'm thinking about the week 5 game against Lyrics, where the Bellybolt was in a pretty strong position, and I think when there was an opportunity to switch it out to like a FizzDef Sylveon or something, Ty made the decision to tear the Bellybolt, the non-boots Bellybolt with rocks on the field, into a bug type. I get the bug Terra within like a vacuum, but from that point forward, right, bringing no removal into into like a team with rocks and with spikes from the Samurott, and kind of just like was in a pretty decent position. Just keep it in. Was continuing to slack off. The Great Tusk couldn't push through it, and then Lyric switched, and then Ty Volt switched with the Belly Bolt, and then at some point tried to bring it back in with like a Wish, but obviously didn't have the HP for it anymore because now the hazards do so much damage to you because A, you're a bug type, and B, there's 3 spikes in the field. It's just kind of like a not really understanding the urgency of the situation, or okay, these are the threats that are going to come. I need to play like with this kind of tempo to prevent my opponent from getting that like that big point of progress. Like we talked about Lavs, right? From turn 1, the Garchomp set up and was immediately positioned to be able to make enormous progress into the team. I've kind of seen with Ty that through these maybe mid-game positions, the alarm bells maybe are going off like a turn or two too late, and now they're on the back foot because something is set up, or now there are like hazards in the field, and Ty just doesn't have the solution on the roster. Some good things I saw from the Lyrics match was it was non-pixelate Sylveon, which made sense into like a Salazzle. I forget what the steel type was for the other team, but clearly like looking at the matchup, making decisions cognizant of like, you know, this could happen, so I kind of want to have this. But I think in the battle, it's like, okay, what are like the key things that I need to watch out for the other team? One of the big question marks for me, and maybe this is an issue with the PowerPoint, the slideshow, has not brought Pecharunt to a lot of these games. I think when I was doing my hot takes, my Jar Jamboree hot takes, in the first 3 weeks, Ty had only brought Petch to one game. I was kind of like, oh,
I don't know if that's correct. I'm pretty sure Petron has come to most of these games.
Can you look? Because it might just be that, you know, they're not on the slideshow.
Right, because I think it's ordered by kills, right? So it could just be the Petron has no kills. It'll take me a second here.
I think I'm right where it only came to one of the first 3 games.
Do you know what the acronym is for this team?
Never mind, I got it. GG.
Nope, never mind, I don't got it. It just come to 3 of the games.
Yeah, like, and that's, you know,
I feel like that's pretty normal for Patch. Patch is not like some crazy, like I know you call it Crutcherunt, but it really can't come to every game, especially when it's like when it's on parting shot duty, and they know it. You're just gonna get clear amuleted, bro, and then you're gonna get owned.
I will say, like, so I like to run Pecharunt with like a Rocky Helmet or like a Resist Berry. So like, okay, you're expecting the Great Tusk, maybe you could have like a Shuka, right? And then you just kind of kill back. Definitely makes it harder for like a D-Knight, for like a Pecharunt, for like a Cornerstone to have that level of survivability that you want if you don't have removal.
Yeah, I think the removal is definitely, or the lack of removal is definitely hurting this team, because I think it was in the game where he played against Garg. So who had the Garg? Was that?
That's Lavs, right?
No, not Lavs.
No. Gotham?
GCG? Yeah, Gotham. In that game, it was like rocks went up, and then Guard clicked Salt Cure, and everything was taking 25% damage a turn. Mm-hmm. And then the Sylveon got toxic, so it was taking rocks, toxic, and then Salt Cure. Like, in that matchup, he lost because Guard went so crazy.
Yeah.
Didn't bring a Covert Cloak
into a
Guard, which I think is crazy. I think you have to do that. Like, if you do it on Sylveon, do it on Pecharunt, even though Pecharunt doesn't beat it, unfortunately. So, I don't know. Belly Bolt, maybe. Hard to say. Has D-Knight been coming to these games?
It's come to one game. What, 2-1?
One game?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. D-Knight is goated. D-Knight should be coming to almost every game, in my opinion. It's so flexible. It does so much. I think we got to start doing that more. We need to be running boots more often, like boots Petulant, boots D-Knight, boots Belly Bolt. I think are the big three that need them. If you're planning on switching Darkrai out, boots Darkrai is also a good set.
Yeah,
You got anything
not
else
an
to say about this
easy,
one?
not an easy team to steer. Definitely not an easy schedule from here on out. I want to say this was when I did my analysis of the strength of schedules across divisions. This was one of the hardest. This might have been the hardest actually. I think this was the hardest schedule remaining out of anyone in any division in the PBO. So I wish you luck, but yeah, it's some challenges with team building with no removal, and you just gotta spam boots. I know having more interesting items is what you want to do, but sometimes you just gotta lock the boots.
Yeah, that's something I struggle with too. I never run boots because I'm like, nah, I'll just be better, and then I don't be better.
Moving on, the number 9 team, the Limber Luchadores.
They're calling them an honorary Sandy Shock Squad member.
Now, what do you get when you're an honorary Sandy Shock Squad member?
Apparently just conversations with Za, because that's all Voids has been getting, I think.
You get
Um,
unfettered access to the Zapaganda.
True. Well, everyone has unfettered access to Zapaganda. Zapaganda is for everyone.
All right, you get Zapaganda Premium, free of charge.
Anyways, win on Norwalk. That's doesn't mean a whole lot because Norwalk hasn't won a game yet, and then a win over Long Island. That's a pretty solid win.
Yeah.
I think so far this Harkonine has come. Oh no, Harkonine's only come to 3 games. I thought Harkonine came to more games.
Was it the
Um,
Terra Electric Harkonine into Long Island this week to try to deny the Zapdos? And then the Meowscarada was able to pick up a bunch of kills with the U-turn and the knockoff threat?
is that true? I thought the Electric Harkonine was into Klecker. Unless it was both. Here, let me.
We watched a lot of Limber Luchadors games before this.
Yeah, we've watched a lot of games today.
I know into the Zapdos, into the Long Island. Long Island? I think in the Long Island
No,
game.
it was rocking to this team. Oh, right, this game. Okay, I remember this game now. So, Luchadors only really won this game, or I don't say only won this game, but primarily won this game because Obscuretisms kind of threw. I clicked Terragos Shadow Ball with LeBron, aka Mr. Hoopa Unbound, and then that let Como come in and set up for free, and then it killed half the team. So, like, really, it put Voids in a pretty much unlosable position because Como is pretty awesome. But so like yeah, but basically, if Long Island hadn't thrown that game, it would have been much closer because it was already pretty like close,
All right,
as close as it could have been after Como.
let's reframe
getting
that to
full
talk up Limber Luchadors.
Okay, so basically, I think if I remember correctly, in a lot of these games, Limber Luchadors has been trying to leverage the Harkonine a lot. I think it's a comfort mon, but also just a good Pokemon in and of itself. I don't think I've seen the Landers do that much,
Landorus
or
leads
the
the team in
Keldeo.
kills.
Oh, does it?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Was there the one game where it was Sand Force Lando and it couldn't pick up a kill because it didn't have the right ability, so it couldn't kill with Sheer Force?
Oh, that was week 3. Yes, that was really bad. If that hadn't happened, the game would have looked a lot different. And like everyone's forgotten an ability from time to time. I am part of the Curious Medicine Glow King Club. So unfortunately, those things happen. But you got to keep moving. And so far, Voids is moving. They're coming back. The rest of the season, we've got Pittsburgh Scizors, which is a very winnable game. You've got Lyrics, which is also winnable. And then you've got Metro Boomburstin, which is also like this feasibly could be a 5-3 team going into playoffs, right? Like these are all potential wins. I think week 7 will probably be the hardest week. but it doesn't mean I don't think it's impossible by any stretch. You might have to get creative to get around the Corviknight on that team, but I think overall it'll be okay. What are you
And
thinking?
something to note, right? The three losses have been relatively close losses to three of the best teams in the division. So,
True.
in their first season here in the PBO, pretty good showing so far through the first 4 or 5 weeks. Excited to see what you've taken from the first half and what you're going to bring forward in the next. I'm excited for this team. I like watching Limber Luchador games.
True. They're always entertaining.
Going to number 8, the Pittsburgh Scizors. You'll see that they're sitting at 12 on the standings, but we've put them at number 8. Don, how have we made this decision? Why are they here?
Okay. Well, first off, there are a lot of 2 and 3 teams. If we were just to go by record for all of those, it would be pretty freaking boring. But also, like, let's take a look here at who Pittsburgh has beaten. Beat Long Island, who is a top half team, and then beat Chicago, who I think is the first person on the list so far to have beaten Chicago, who's also a top team. And then the losses are to Drew, the best team in the division so far, to Gotham City, who's a pretty middle of the road team, and then a 6-0 loss to Klecker, who's like pretty clear cut the second best team in the division, I think. So, like, overall, the losses are not losses to be ashamed of, and the wins are pretty goated. And that's why I'm putting Pittsburgh above the teams that came before it.
Right, we talked about teams that have this brutal end of schedule hitting like the Drew, Klecker, Chicago tour. Into the Void has already gone through that. Maybe we didn't know it like at the time, but these are really good wins into almost assuredly playoff teams. And now the Pittsburgh Scizors is facing down 2 teams that don't have a win, and the Limber Luchadores, who we just looked at, who look like they're playing well, but in a similar boat as Pittsburgh, kind of sitting on that playoff bubble, one of the 2 and 3 teams that are really fighting for a spot. The downside for the Pittsburgh Scizors is that differential. -9. This is what I found when I was trying to crawl out of a hole in Season 8. It's not the wins that are the hardest part about digging out of a tough early season. It's the diff. Because if you get to like 4-4, even if you've climbed out of those wins, if you haven't won big enough, 4-4 -2 might not get you into playoffs. So going to be looking for some big wins. I would hope to see Pittsburgh in playoffs. The way that they've been breaking with the Chi-Yu has been nice. I really like the progress that he was making on Long Island's team with the Hitmontop earlier in the season. It's a Palafin team that isn't Rain. We like to see that.
True.
What are some of the
do
games or
also-
things that jump out for you for Pittsburgh?
Before I talk about the games, I do back to the rain thing. I do think it's really funny that Palafin and Chi-Yu, the Mons that don't need weather but are always put on weather, are put together on this team, and it's kind of working out so far. I can appreciate the comedy in that. But in terms of the games, I remember the game against Long Island week 1. It was a really entertaining game. The Chi-Yu put in a lot of work. It was Scarf, and it just blew through the Latios, and then Palafin did a really good job cleaning up in the late game. Latios put pressure on... No, hold on. I'm thinking of the wrong game with that one. The Hitmontop was really good at breaking through the Zapdos. Was at a point in that game where he teared the Sinistra where I don't think he should have, because in my opinion, if you're Sinistra in the Wilger matchup, you should always be Max Fizdef with Colbert Berry, but he was like Terra Steel and wasn't exactly that. But it ended up working out. He ended up getting through everything. Thank you to Scarf Chi-Yu and Palafin, aka the Goats. The Klecker game, people will look at that and say a 6-0 warrants him being put lower. But I think sometimes a team like this, it's kind of weak to like getting set up on and then blown through. And sometimes it doesn't mean the team necessarily did badly. Like it's like saying to me, it's like if a team wins 1-0, it doesn't mean that it was necessarily like bad or even close. Like it could just be the person was in the driver's seat the whole time. It's like that. Sometimes that's just the way a team is designed to win. But I think the same also applies in the opposite direction. Sometimes if you're losing big, it's just sometimes the way the team is designed to lose, if that makes sense. So I don't think it like means as much as you'd think it would. But also, Klecker is also just really good. So there's also that. But for the rest of the schedule, I think if we're looking at it, we've got Limber Luchadores, which is a winnable game, but also losable. We said it was winnable for Voids too. Metro Boomburstin, which I think is a winnable game, and then Norwalk Noiverns, who we don't really know if he'll be around because of the forfeits. But if he is around, it's also winnable.
I haven't looked at the schedules for next week yet, but I'm tentatively saying that the Limber Luchadors versus the Pittsburgh Scizors, week 6, is going to be my Crystal game of the week. It could be a make or break game for both of them.
Absolutely. I think if Pittsburgh doesn't win big on this game, well, actually, I think this is probably the last game he can afford to not win big on. Because if he doesn't win big on this one, he's gonna have to win pretty freaking big in the last two to have a chance. Really, I think.
Well, we have a lot of 2 and 3
playoffs,
teams, right? I think
yeah,
4 and 4.
I'm just worried about the diff.
5 and 3 with no matter what diff is going to get you in, right? I think the floor for playoffs is going to be 4 and 4 with a negative diff. It's just going to be really hard if Pittsburgh picks up, like, let's say the Limburg game is a 1-0 loss for Pittsburgh, right? Now you're 2 and 4 minus 10. You got to make up like, I don't know, 6 or 7 diff in those last 2 weeks. That's tough, but not impossible.
Right. I flinched when he said 6 or 7 diff.
Oh, Sydney, put it up on the screen. Ready to move on?
Sydney, please don't. Yes.
Number 7.
All right, number 17.
The Gotham City Golbats.
This is the Excadrill team, by the way. So we've got Excadrill and we've got Garganacl, but we've got no sand. And honestly, that's okay. I'm really tired of seeing Excadrill in sand. The Zarude hasn't actually been going that crazy on this team. It's 2 and 3. It's come to every game though. But honestly, the Garganacl has kind of been the carry on this team. It's been tearing most of the games, and it's been doing what Garganacl does in mid to low tiers. It just kind of sets up and goes crazy and preys on the fact that people don't usually bring Covert Cloak to beat it. That's evident in the game against what was it? It was Glasgow, right? Ty the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the game where Garganacl got a lot of value. I think it's what brought him back against Lavs. I think he was losing until Garganacl terra'd and then clawed its way back. Unless that was Conk, I don't remember for sure. I think the Jolteon has just been okay, even though it's come to 3 games. I think he got 2 of those kills in the in week 2, but mostly just like I think it could have been abused very easily by like the Darkrai because it was clicking Shadow Ball a lot, and Darkrai was just not punishing it. I think so. I don't know. So far, he's beaten mostly middle of the road teams, and then lost to the top teams pretty much, to Drew and to Chicago. Now, for the rest of the season, we've got Norwalk Noiverns, which I think is a relatively easy win here. We've got Long Island, which is not going to be easy, but still winnable, I think. And then you go against Klecker, which I think is going to be a really tough one, because this team is kind of insanely hard to beat, or it's really hard to beat a +1 Raging Bolt, I think. You can go for like the gimmicky Terra Fairy Jolteon, but as soon as it clicks anything other than a stab move, you're kind of cooked. Kyurem is like okay at helping check it. Like I think basically, if Raging Bolt gets to +1 against this team, I think it takes down 2 or 3 mobs before it goes down.
Yeah, I mean you do have the Exca, and I have run like a bulkier Exca set to try to take out like one of these dragons. And you said this isn't a sand team. That Hippopotas sitting at the end of the bench is he's waiting to come. He's waiting to unleash the
I,
Excadrill Garganacl on a Sand Force team.
I want you to know my brain didn't even register it was there because I'm so confident it's not.
We did just watch
Okay.
the game against the Chicago Chimchars. Um, I think was struggling to break the Goliath score, and then the Annihilate kind of went a little bit crazy. Um, was it a U-turn Zarude? Does that
Was
sound
it
right?
the encore U-turn,
I want to
or was
say.
it? I think so. Might have been earlier.
What
Let
is
me
your
find it.
opinion on like just a strictly I'm gonna bulk up synth setup Zarude versus maybe something that forces like a knockoff U-turn encore Zarude?
Sorry, can you explain that one more time?
Different Zarude sets. Fat bulk up
What
setup
about it?
versus U-turn encore knock. What do you think about one versus the other?
I think U-turn encore knock is like infinitely more frustrating to play against. Uh, I do think bulk up sets are a bit limited by four move slot syndrome. That's something I've realized from playing Zarude because like you're always like, okay, I need bulk up and I need a healing move of some sort, and maybe I'll need a utility move as well. And now I only have room for one move, and one move isn't going to beat the whole team. And so you have to pick really carefully what it is the Zarude's going to be in against, and the things the rest of your team is tasked with beating for it. And that can be really hard to manage sometimes, in my opinion. On this team, though, unlike my team where it's kind of forced into that setup role every week, this team offers Zarude the flexibility to be those support sets or also be like a choice scarf set, which I think it was in one of these games recently.
Yeah,
Um,
it was like a Choice Scarf Ghost Terra Blast or something.
yeah, that's what it was. Um,
It
okay, I'm
also
watching
kind of
back this game that you mentioned. I think it was the Metagross that was a problem. And
mm,
then it was Agility Iron Moth that won the game.
just to speak on that Metagross call out. A few shortcomings of the team, in my mind at least, right? Zarude is the fast Encore. Your only other Encore Mon is pretty slow in Primarina. And because
Doesn't
Primarina's
Salazzle get Encore?
you're right, Salazzle gets Encore. I totally forgot about that. Salazzle's come to one or two games, I believe. I think it's only been one or two. But going
That
back
sounds
to
right.
the Primarina, right? As your only water type that doesn't resist steel, obviously most teams aren't going to have like a Metagross. Um, but could be an issue, especially with like a Terra Steel Terra Captain, maybe, of just not really having a decent go to resist. Even the Excadrill, typically it's not run as like a defensive piece. That's kind of the same issue that you have with like Iron Treads, is you want it to fulfill that role as like a defensive steel type, and you want it to kind of do all these other things. Non-Terra Excadrill, I think, suffers from a lot of the same issues. I
I
want
would
to say
agree.
issues. I'll say challenges.
Nah, they're issues. That's why Drill's not a top tier anymore. Unless it's Terra for some reason. I hate that guy. Excadrill's gross.
We just watched the Raven Fire Ant game where the Terra Excadrill just swept through Fire Ant's team.
No, that was Natty Gray.
Natty Gray. God, all these games just blur together.
They really do. Sundays are crazy in the PBO.
Ah. Any final
Um,
words on Gotham? This is their second season in the PBO. I believe they just barely missed playoffs in their first season in season 9. And here they are currently in playoffs in the 7th spot at 3-2 with zero diff. Any kind of final thoughts on Gotham or key words for them as they attempt to make playoffs for the first time?
so I think if we're talking in terms of playoffs, winning one game is going to make it kind of tough to make it into playoffs. I think because your diff will be relatively low, or it'll be very low actually. If you're 4-4, if he's 3-2-0 plus now, wow, I messed that up really badly. 3-2 plus 0 now. If he's 4-4 going into playoffs, he's probably going to have some really low diff, and so the competition will be rough. But so if he wins 2 games, he's going to be locked. So I think the Norwalk game is probably a shoe-in. I either expect a forfeit or a Norwalk who's not really in it. That'll put you at 4-2 pretty easy. I think the Klecker game is going to be the hardest to win for sure. So I honestly, I would if the goal is just to get playoffs, I'm not focusing super hard on that game. I'm really putting all of my attention into this Long Island game because that's going to be the one that matters the most. Week 7 is going to be the week the Gotham City Golbats need to lock in if the goal is playoffs.
And again,
So,
have not looked at the schedules so far for week 7, but tentatively, the Gotham City Golbats and Long Island Tyranitars, potentially both of them with their playoff lives on the line for the Crystal game of week 7.
mm-hmm, for sure. This once week 7 and 8 are the ones where you start seeing games have very straightforward playoff implications, and this is a very classic example of it. I think Gotham City's going to really want this game to lock playoffs. If he doesn't get it, I don't think he's going to make playoffs if he doesn't beat Long Island. I think Klecker is able to win games with high diff very comfortably with his team. So if you're not winning by straight up win-loss record, your diff record is not going to be your friend if you're fighting for a position. I think with that, unless you have anything you want to add, I think we're good to move on to the number 6 team.
No, just kind of want to comment that as you've seen, right, this is the first 3-2 team that we've touched on after a string of 6 2-3 teams. Everyone's in the playoff bubble. Everyone's kind of gritting their teeth trying to get to either 4-4 with good diff or 5-3. Gotham has a leg up because they already have 3 wins under their belt, but the schedule does not do people favors because of how strong this kind of top tier in the Crystal Division are this season. So kind of continuing in on that trend, on that theme, our number 6 team, the Long Island Tyranitars.
All right, Long Island Tyranitars. This team, I said it. This team first overall, or was it 3rd overall in preseason power rankings?
I think we had them at 3rd.
Okay, this team is still strong. The team is cool. I do think at some points it suffers a little bit from overcooking. I think a good example is in the win against Chicago. It was a win, to be clear. And I'm not saying that these techs are bad. I think they're just a little bit convoluted almost. The Hoopa Unbound in that game was Maranga Berry with Trick Room, which was clearly an attempt to get around the Terapagos and stuff. But the thing is, you could have just been Assault Vest with Drain Punch and done the same thing. Or you could have been Roap Berry and Drain Punch and done that. Basically just Drain Punch it, right? And then the Basque Legion was a slow choice band set with Mold Breaker to get around the Terapagos. But this team kind of deals with Terapagos fairly well already. You have Latios, which has options. You have Treads, which can outspeed it and chunk it down. Even if you're trading some pieces, the Basque Legion is not the ideal piece you want to be using. And
don't forget about the Rain Dance Zapdos to set it up.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it was Rain Dance Zapdos for the slow Basque Legion to work in Trick Room, which did end up happening, but it's just so convoluted that I think sometimes these techs just don't work out. They don't always work out. A good example of this is the Upper Hand Weavile into the Palafin matchup, which I've said it before. I don't like Upper Hand Weavile into Palafin. It does 20%, and then you have to get it right every single turn. And it's we could have just done anything else and used our Weavile earlier in the game. So I don't know.
Yeah, I do think that has been a trend for obscurantism. It's the Weavile has been kept in the back for so long. The Hoopa's being played in mid-game. The Orgerpon is being played in endgame. I can't really tell you when I would expect the Weavile to come out. Either it hasn't been coming out, or it's been coming out and it's kind of just either just dying or it's been an emergency pick. That week 1 it was a Choice Scarf Weavile. I don't think Weavile has any kills.
If it does, it's tied with Chestnut.
Yeah. So more out of the Weavile would be great for this team. Keep it simple. This team, like just in terms of transitioning from one mon to another, I don't think this is too hard of a team to steer. I'd like to see more like Healing Wish Latias. I like the ingenuity. I like the, oh my god, I didn't expect to see, Choice Band, Mold Breaker, Slow, Basculegion in Trick Room. But, looking at the last 3 games of the season, really looking at week 6 and week 7, keeping it simple, identifying what is like a clear line for me to make progress.
Numbers, Jarv.
What do you mean? We're just doing week 5. We just finished. The next 2 weeks, we're not hiding it from anyone. Don, all right? It's week 6 and it's week 7. I can't keep. We're not gonna hand wring over this.
Stop it.
6-7. 6-7.
No.
I'm 30, by the way.
Anyways, I do think like a lot of the issues, that like I mean this wholeheartedly. Orange, I know you're watching this. Either stop prepping with this guy, or give him simpler sets. Like it's not even that like obscurantism's like, oh, you can't use complicated sets. It's just no, you're overcooking the sets, Orange. I'm telling you. Like it, for example, even though the Basculegion worked and it was cool, you could have just been Scarf adaptability and done the exact same thing, and it would have needed less setup. And now your Zapdos is freed up to do more things. Now your Hoopa's freed up to do more things. It would have been an even more comfortable win.
Or ban Swift Swim.
True, that too. Like I think it was just like, just because you have Mold Breaker on a Pokemon doesn't mean you're obligated to use it in the Terapagos matchup. It can be good, but you don't have to do it. And it's like, it's not like Basculegion is what came in on the Terapagos anyways. So it's not like you were trying to use Basculegion as your switch into Pagos and then kill it. I don't know. Also, we haven't seen the Wellspring Terra that much, even though it's at 9 kills.
It's been the Hoopa show.
The Hoopas. Yeah, the Hoopa's mostly been the Terra guy, even though it's only 4 kills. Although, but let's not forget that week 5 loss there was entirely because of Hoopa.
Not to cast blame.
I'll blame. It's okay. LeBron knows me. That's my guy. He threw that game.
What do you think of the matchups the next 2 weeks?
Next few weeks, Rex is going to be a tough one. Gotham City's winnable. Cherry Hill's very winnable. So yeah, like I think this can definitely make playoffs pretty easily. I think 3-2 plus 3 is solid diff. So even if you go 4-4, you're not as worried about the diff as other teams are. So realistically, you could be okay here. I would also like to point out, when I said the Wellspring wasn't tearing, that also includes when the Hoopa does not come to the game. In the Norwalk game, he ended up just sacking the Wellspring in front of the Sandslash-Alola because he didn't Terra the Wellspring on the Leech Life. And so he took, I think it was 38%. He took 38% from Leech Life and died because of it. When if he had just Terra'd and clicked the Cudgel, he's doing 70% to the Sandslash, and then he's also living the Leech Life, and he gets to click Cudgel again the next turn.
Yeah.
So really just gotta manage the Terras a little bit better, I think. But overall, the rest of the season is definitely a solid outlook for Long Island here, I think.
And I did confirm we did put Long Island 3rd in the preseason power rankings.
Okay.
Moving on to our number
5 team.
Our number 5 team, the Chicago Chimchars.
Chicago Chimchars. All right, let's talk about it. The Terra Captains. I hate to say I told you so, but it kind of feels like a lot of these guys are like being stretched too thin, Terra Captain wise. The Iron Moth.
Which guys?
I think, has the Annihilate Terra'd once?
Once.
Has it? Really?
I want to say it was a Ghost, Choice Scarf, Rage Fist, Sweep Through.
Okay.
Maybe not Sweep Through. Maybe it's just like the last 2
Which
kills.
team was it against, do you think?
Oh, we got them maybe? Week 5, maybe?
I could have sworn that the Gliscor teared that, but I'll
I
check.
got 1 kill in the Gotham game. I forgot that I can look at these and see what happened in the games. I think I'm
Oh
right.
no, it was the moth. The moth teared grass at the very end.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of another Annihilate. But the Terramoth, especially with the booster special attacks agility sets, has been the one that's really been getting the Terra, making a lot of the progress. I think we've seen lead Glasgow a couple times.
I think so. Oh, also, I did just check. You were correct. The Annihilate did Terra once on the last turn of a game where it got outsped in O-code.
No!
Yeah. So basically, I think just a lot of these guys aren't being able to be used at their full potential because uh, we're just not able to use the set because it just opportunity cost. If we tear at that guy, we can't tear at the other guy. So, like, I think one example is the what was it? The was it this week where it was the agility Terra Fairy Gliscor?
I believe
Um,
so. Against the Garganackle on Gotham side.
no, because it was in an Urshifu, wasn't it? One I'm thinking of. Maybe it was a different div. These games really do blend together after a
It's
certain point.
awful, isn't it?
Yeah, that one never tear it.
There was
It's a very first world problem.
um in the Gotham game, right? It was like a double dance Terra Fairy Gliscor set.
I
Uh
don't know if it was double dance because
I'm
if it
assuming
was
it was
if it was
double dance. We
agility,
only
right?
saw the
It
agility.
just it just wasn't doing any damage to anything. So I think it was like still fizzed out. Because no, it was I remember because it was some game where Thundy outsped. So yeah, well, it wasn't even this one because there was no Thundy in this game. Like a Scarf Thundy outsped Terra Fairy Gliscor.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, we're thinking of the wrong game.
Sydney, put the
Sorry.
game we're thinking of on the screen.
Yeah, except don't do that. It's not a crystal game. The teams he's beaten, he beat Rex. That's a big flex. Rex has been on a hot streak and like for a while now. Wasn't that a rematch from Neon Finals?
It was. It was our game of the week.
Got his get back week one. Goat status, by the way. Show him that it was a fluke. You can't fool me once with that detail, Mence, you know? Um, Cherry Hill 6-0 win. That's very strong. And then a 4-0 against Gotham City.
Looking like a playoff
For the
team.
rest of the season, we got, yeah, definitely playoff team. Not a doubt in my mind. Even though he lost to Pittsburgh and Long Island, not a doubt in my mind.
No, I meant Gotham, but yeah.
Oh, Gotham. Oh, yeah. Also potential playoff team. We just talked about him. Uh, Rest of the season, we got Lyrics, we got Lavs, and we got Glasgow. Lyrics is the hardest game of the season remaining for sure. And then past that, I think we got the rest are definitely winnable. So I'm putting most of my prep from Chicago into this week 6 game. What are you thinking?
Glasgow did go on a run last season and made playoffs at like 4-4 -8 or something after the start of the season 1-4. So I wouldn't kind of turn my nose up against that Glasgow matchup in the final week. I think the goal for Chicago going through the rest of this season is to finish with a record that is good enough that they can avoid, or at least maybe not avoid because we pick playoff opponents, but justify not having to face like Drew or Klecker in like round 1 of playoffs.
Right. Avoiding that will be huge because I imagine they'll be on opposite ends of the bracket. They'll probably be our 1 and 2 if I had to guess.
Well, we'll see, right? Because Klecker does have
Yeah,
2
we
losses.
will see.
We'll talk about it later. But
Yeah.
I like how Chicago's playing. It still has some of those issues with the Terra
some
captains and the
exception.
roles.
I do want to talk about the losses.
All right, I'll let you go on the
The
losses then.
losses, sorry, but Pittsburgh, that game I remember. The Chicago was just kind of falling apart against the Chi-Yu. He was playing really greedy. He like switched in a Milo, took like 60% from a Dark Pulse, ate like a citrus berry, and then instead of just hitting the threat in front of him, he coiled. And then Chi-Yu just clicks Dark Pulse again. And then it's just over from there. It was like just a really unfortunate situation. Like he just let a lot of the guys run away with the game. And then against I think the game against Long Island, he just got like super teched into oblivion. But even then, he still had ways around it. He was playing a little too cautiously, I think. But overall, yeah.
Was that the
Sorry,
Choice Scarf Shadow Ball Basket Legion game?
no, that was the Trick Room.
That was the
Rain.
Trick Room Hoopa Rain. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, just got super teched into oblivion, I think. But I don't know. Those kinds of losses happen. Do you have anything else you want to add to this?
No, no, no. Is there anything this team is missing? Any kind of transactions or moves that you think that they should make going into the final week where you can?
Transaction wise, I don't know. Unless you're like dropping Terra guys. I don't really think so. Has Rotom been coming to games?
I don't think so. We've only seen one game from the Rabombi and the Lecky, which I think is fair.
I think it's pretty.
Yeah, and there are things you have to prep for. I don't love the Milo. I tried running Milo in MCA, and I couldn't use it, or I didn't love it. It kind of just clicks flip turn. I think there are definitely, without me having looking at the board, there have to be Mons on the board if you want to drop Terra from, I don't know, something to make room. I think that would be very reasonable. It just depends on how you want to play. I think the Iron Moth has been doing wonders. I think Glasgow is great with Terra. Maybe you keep it on the Annihilate. Maybe you drop it and pick something else up. But I think it's something that you, Chicago Gabe, should consider.
Maybe. I think we're good to move on to the number 4 team.
The number 4 team, we have the Erie Oshawotts. Ooh, surprise!
The Erie Oshawotts. This has kind of just been the Raging Bolt show, a la Neon and Sydney. Raging Bolt's a good Pokemon. Who would have guessed? Also, the second, third, actually three of the 4 Raging Bolts are supported by Jirachi. Fun fact. Rillaboom Sneasler, the classic Raging Bolt combo. Alamamola, still a shit mon, but Klecker loves it, makes it work.
I like Aloe. I'm an Aloe fan.
It's your mistake. But I think Donphan's a pretty good partner with Aloe, wishing up this to get the Sturdy back. Still a little bit grass, like for a defensive core that makes it grass weak, but then you have Jirachi to patch that up. Mousehold can't. No, I'm thinking of a different.
No,
team, not
Mousehold came to a game and got Terra'd. Terra normal Mousehold into the Drew game.
Oh, okay. Didn't work out. I heard that loss had some hacks in it, but I don't actually remember how it went.
I think there were some weird decisions on the builder that Klecker made, right? It was protective pads, Terra normal population bomb Mousehold to hit the Rocky Helmet of Mungus, but it only hit like 3 times because population bomb only has an accuracy of 90 when you don't have wide lens.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're not wide lens.
Right, brought the Aloe into the Regenerator Mon matchup. So, that was the match where Drew brought Slowking, Amoonguss, and Toxapex. And the Lumamola would come in, and then Drew would be able to heal 2 of his Mons. It just... I like Aloe, and when you have these other weapons on the team, I feel like there should just be games where, like, you drop it. I think we're expecting at some point there's a Klecker-Drew rematch sometime in playoffs. I really would hope that maybe that's where we leave the Aloe at home and we go for something like a super offensive like Cerulege or something fun.
Maybe.
We can talk about this when we get to Drew's team, but maybe just getting a little bit too cute. Biggest matchup on the rest of the schedule for Klecker is that week 7 against Rex. That'll be a fun one.
For sure. And then past that, you have Glasgow and Gotham. Those should be fairly straightforward games, I think. I remember the Raging Bolt was really strong into, what was it, Gotham?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know exactly what his plan is there. He's brought most of his Pokemon, though, hasn't he? He's brought the Diancie, I think.
Diancie came once, but it got 2 kills.
Yeah, it came in the Pittsburgh game. I don't know if low kicks has come yet.
I don't believe it
Um,
has. Um, and again, I realized I could
yeah,
look at this
no low
thing,
kicks.
but also a reminder that Collector's only played 4 games.
True.
So
There is the forfeit loss week 3, which is like part of the reason it's up here and not lower. Like it's not a true 3-2, you know. 75% win rate so far in the season. Basically, this is like I said at the start of the season, my prediction for the finals was going to be Erie Oshawotts against the Black Diamond T-Tars, and
I
I
don't
gotta
think
say,
that's
my,
right.
my mind has not been changed.
I
Didn't
I
know?
think
Didn't I say that?
I think we had the Black Diamond T-Tars at like 7 when we did our first power rankings. We had Erie at 1 and Rex at 2. I'm
Oh yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. No, but those were the rankings. But I still said it was going to be Black Diamond T-Tars in finals. I said it at the very end.
Oh,
I'm
you
a
did.
big
You
Drew
did.
supporter.
I'm swiping through it right now. I think you did say that.
I,
We had them
I,
at
I remember
9.
I definitely did.
We had the
Yeah,
triple
because
regen team at
it was
9.
it was a team thing. Regen is cringe. Views regen. Learn to play. I don't know. I'm just messing around. I don't know
Don
what I'm
says
saying.
no regen, no heavy duty boots, no
Yes,
weather or rain dance into trick room on Moldbreaker Basculegion. No fun.
you're gonna play like it's Gen 5, and you're gonna like it. Anyways, I think we're good to move on to the number 3 team.
The number 3 team, the Scottish Stoutlands.
Scottish Stoutlands. Lyrics has been really playing well this season for the most part. Um, One thing I do want to say right now, at the very start of this, Lyrics, please, I'm begging you, you gotta do something about your SPDF issue. AV, max HP, max SPDF, Alolan Muck is like putting you in some really dangerous situations in these games. Like, what was the game against Drex? He lost to the Terrablast Thunderous, right? It was like Scarf Terrablast, or no,
Yeah.
it was Agility Terrablast Thunderous.
Terrablast, Terrafly.
Terrafly. And he lost because his only SPDF guy was a Alolan Muck. And Iron Crown was in earlier in the game, and it forced him to sack like all of his HP on the Muck. And so then Thunderous just comes in and super owns the rest of the team. And then like I think there are other games where like that's like the case too. And like I can already picture Lyrics saying it right now. He'll say something like, "Well, the Alolan Muck is working. It's taking special hits really well." And it is doing that. It is doing it. That's what Muck does. It takes those special hits really well and it knocks off and it gets poisons. But the problem is, it doesn't have the longevity to do it like forever, and it's really causing you to be hazards weak because like Muck will take hazards even though Corviknight will try to defog them away, and it'll cause you to really crumble under the pressure of multiple special attackers, which is exactly what happened in the Rex game.
I
But
will.
overall,
Well,
like
I will
I'm
say.
nitpicking at this point.
I will say,
Lyrics is
right,
playing really well.
there are other options here when it comes to SPDF, right? Like a SPDF Volcanion or an AV Volcanion is very good. AV Hamu is pretty standard. The Muck, it has 6 kills, which looks really crazy, but 5 of them came in the first 2 weeks. So I wouldn't be shocked, especially with these upcoming matchups, if teams start to punish you for running like that AV Muck. I'm actually Lyrics has been doing a great
Right.
job of mixing up the archetypes of the team that they've been bringing, and the Muck has kind of been the staple or the one that's kind of come to most of these games. I'd like to see, like, okay, I'm prepping for the Muck. I'm prepping, for an EQ Mon to try to break through it or to force like issues on this team. Muck doesn't arrive. It's like a Terra Fairy AV Volcanion that just makes so much progress.
Okay, basically, I can already imagine it right now. People are gonna say, Don, what are you saying about the Muck being the only special? Well, he has options in SPDF Corviknight, the Hammer, SPDF Clefable,
Yeah, he
Volcanion. It's
hasn't been
like,
using them.
yeah, he's not bringing them. So like, the solution is start bringing these other guys so you don't lose the special attackers. Um, so like, yeah, and like this team is very flexible in that regard. You have Corviknight, which can do it on either side. Clefable can do it on either side. he's been really creative with the sets. Like the Hammer-On into the Petch matchup was mixed. It was Dark Pulse and Ceaseless Edge, and that was really, really valuable because he ended up doing 50% to Belly Bolt in one turn with hazards.
Like we were talking about the Long
The
Island game.
Volcanion, Will-O-Wisp.
Sorry, we were talking about the Long Island game where, okay, some of these like sets or these games are a little convoluted. It looks great when it works, when the Rain Dance Trick Room Slow Basket Legion comes out, but like maybe you just need to simplify. I think Lyrics has actually been doing a really good job of balancing these cool like steering in the mid game strategies with like a level of innovation that the other team doesn't expect. Like I'm thinking about the Cherry Hill game where it was again the eject button Pincurchin to set up the Terra either fighting or psychic band Iron Leaves with the booster speed. I really like how Lyrics is playing overall. But you and I were talking about before this things that, muck aside, we thought that Lyrics was going to start to get punished for.
What do you mean?
We said that Lyrics was making some strange decisions in some of these games that he wasn't really getting punished for, and that might come back to bite him later on in the season or in the playoffs. I think you called it the
any of these turns.
You called it the Aiden syndrome from last season, where a lot of his opponents are kind of falling over on themselves.
Did I use any games, for example? Oh yeah. The Metro Boomburstin game I think was part of that because I think just a lot of the sets that came in that game were not great. Like the week 1 game.
The Norwalk game as well.
No, I think Norwalk got kind of hacked in that game actually because he just low ruled everything with his duck. So it's not like Lyrics did anything that led to the hacks, but if he had just gotten like 1 or 2 mid rolls with his CCs into the Corviknight, then he would have won the game. Cherry Hill, I don't remember this one off the top of my head. The Glasgow one was good play. Like I'm not saying anything about that, but I do think the Metro Burstin one. Like I think they were both making very questionable plays there, and Lyrics just made slightly less questionable plays. If we look at the Fortress game, if we look at it, the Grimmsnarl here really just sits in here forever. We're stacking a bunch of HP on the Tusk. Brick Break on the Hammerot's a good bring. But like the Grimm's just getting screens back up. Rainid's Volcanion is cool into Sun, but like he didn't bring Sun, so I don't know if we really needed to click it.
Good play out of Lyrics. Great steerage.
Yeah.
And some of these mid-game sections, just things are definitely going Lyrics' way this season so far. 4-1 plus 10. Awesome. Sure. Fantastic. Very easily going to make playoffs. Right now sitting at the 2 seed spot. What kind of commentary do you have for Lyrics' remaining schedule?
Oh, actually, I just looked at this Cherry Hill game. Looks like he hacked Cherry Hill 2 with an Earth Power crit with a really scary, the Agility Walking Wake was set up. It looked like it could have just won the game. But anyways, the rest of the schedule. Chicago Chimchars is going to be a very tough game, probably the hardest game remaining. Limber Luchadores is going to be difficult. You're going to need your Harkonine answers really ironed out here. The combination of Flare Blitz and Head Smash really own this team. And I'm not going to say it, but I think there's some secret tech that the Harkonine can use to go pretty crazy this game. But I don't want to be leaking any sets or anything on accident, so I'm not going to say anything. But against Lavs, I think that's probably the easiest remaining game. Tornadus is kind of stuffed by stuff like Unaware Clefable or the Assault Vest Muck or a bundle, and maybe a Spadef Corviknight, but Heatwave is going to be strong into that. But like basically, I think the Tornadus is kind of stuffed by a lot of things. Golden Go is handled mostly by AV Hammerot. Basically, that's the game. You're going to want to bust out those extra special defense guys. Don't put it all on Muck. I beg you. Please. But yeah, overall, this is as close to locked for playoffs as you can get without actually being locked.
One thing I will say, though, all of Lyrics' opponents in these last 3 weeks will have something to play for, right? Chicago is going to want to secure that playoff spot. Limber Luchadores, same thing in the playoff race. Lavs is 2-3 right now. We put them lower, and they have this incredibly tough schedule. So maybe at that point, Lavs isn't fighting for playoffs, but maybe they're fighting to try to prevent relegation. Who knows?
All right, I think we move on to our number 2 team.
The uncertain
Uncertain
unknowns.
Last season's Neon champion. Started off with the rough week 1 into Chicago Chimchars, who beat him, but since then he's just not dropped a game. It's a solid comeback here. Well, as much as a comeback can be for only 1 weekend, but beat Glasgow Glowbros, beat Lyrics, beat Limber Luchadores, and beat Lavs. Pretty comfortable wins, all of them, as far as I remember. The Thunderous is definitely the MVP here. It's terroring more than the single strike. It's mostly, like, 2 of these games, it was Terra Flying, Terra Blast. One was Agility, one was Scarf. And then I think for this game against Lavs today, excuse me, the game against Lavs today, it was Terra Electric. But I don't think it actually terrored. It was the, what did Terra? It was the singles. Did anything terror that game? I don't think so.
We just watched it. I have no idea.
Or was it a water single strike or something? It was something weird on the single strike, I think.
I don't know. That Thundy picked up 4.
Yeah, the Thundy went crazy. Thundy doing Thundy things. Basically, this team is looking very, very strong right now. The remainder of the schedule is Long Island T-Tars, Klecker, and Drew. So it's the easiest game of the season. Like, if we're looking at records, is going to be Long Island T-Tars, and that means it's not going to be an easy schedule. Like that's not good news. Hearing the easiest team that you have left is going to be Woger, Zapdos, Treads, like Hoopa Unbound. That's terrifying. So Rex is really going to have to lock in here. I think he'll make playoffs for sure. I don't see a world where Rex drops playoffs, but it's definitely going to be difficult to get very high here, I think. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see this team drop a little bit going into playoffs. But right now, he's sitting real pretty. What do you think, Jarv?
Secret buff, maybe, right? Because Rex did so well in the first half of the schedule, these next few games might be scouting a bit for playoffs. When you get the run back, when you get a rematch from the regular season, you kind of have that, okay, I tried these things, or these are the strategies that I was surprised by last game. I know how to kind of tweak it. So I don't think, as long as Rex gets 1 win in here, he's going to be sitting pretty safe. This shouldn't be like relax, but I think Rex should approach these games as if they are going to be interesting going into playoffs. If you remember from last season, Don, Rex played the number 2 team, Tingo's Boom, in week 7. And off of that match, declared in playoffs that he wanted to play him in the round 1 and beat him. So Rex not one to shy away from the challenge or to identify, you know what, I have a good matchup into this team that's performing pretty well. I still think I can beat him.
I mean, yeah, that happens. We also have the token Pardini on here, but has that even come to a game yet, the Whimsicott? I don't think it's come to a game yet.
No.
Yeah, so, all right. I guess Pardini doesn't matter at all then. I don't know why I brought it up. Anyways, this team definitely looking real strong. I think we're good to move on to the last team, our number 1 team.
Talk about Drew.
We've been talking about him. The devil himself, Black Diamond T-Tars. This guy's the GOAT. He's just been owning, I think. He benched the Roaring Moon against Klecker. I remember that. Basically, his prep has been really solid here. And remember when I said at the beginning of the season, I really like these Terra captains? Like, it's like they're all a little offbeat, but they're really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I still maintain that. The Necrozma has been going pretty crazy. It's 5 kills, 0 deaths in 3 games. But also, he's terrored the Slow King twice. He terrored it once against Limber Luchadores. It was Terra Water. It let him get the extra oomph he needed against the Landorus. And he was Terra Electric into Klecker. I think it was just a pretty good neutral type into Klecker's team. It helps take a T-Bolt from Raging Bolt, stuff like that. He's got triple regen, which is gross. You should be ashamed of yourself, Drew. But we've also got the double moon action. Tankaton's been very reliable here. It was like almost impossible to kill. Was it either week 1 or 2 against? I can't remember if it was Gotham or Pittsburgh, but just the Tinkaton just would not die in one of those games. Chinchino into, was it Cherry Hill or was it Klecker?
It was into Limber Luchadores.
What was that? Oh no, Limber Luchadores? Yeah, that was a 6 set. Did you guys know Chinchino gets Bolt Beam coverage? Well, I didn't until Drew brought Thunderbolt Ice Spinner Chinchino to this game. And it wasn't like getting crazy amounts of kills or anything. Like, yeah, so you can see
it did like 50 to the scar.
It was chipping things. It was getting everything in range. Yeah, it was putting in work. So like we're seeing a lot of creativity out of this guy. We're seeing offbeat Terra types, we're seeing offbeat sets, we're seeing cool techs, we're seeing him bench the top tier guys when they look really bad. I know it's weird to say it's good to bench your top tier guy, but like if there's a Roaring Moon into an Alamamola, you're kind of never breaking it, you know? So it's kind of fine to bench it. And Jarvan was all about benching Roaring Moon. He's done it like once or twice now.
Once on purpose, once on accident.
At least, yeah. He's probably benched it at least once in like every single week in mocks. So like it's just one of those things where like the team is built really well, and it's built to last, right? Like triple regen will do that.
Now, we did say it was number 9 on the preseason power rankings because we didn't think it was built all that well.
Well, okay, let's put it like this. It's not built the way a standard team is built. I would compare this to Blasphemous. Like this is like Blasphemous style team building, except there's regen on here.
And we didn't see the vision.
Always ranked low in the preseason power rankings. I don't know about that. I'm pretty sure I said I see.
You were like, let's put him 9th.
The team, but like I can't put it any higher because the teams are all really like even in Crystal.
Yeah.
Because the other teams are all really even. That doesn't mean I don't like the team. Doesn't mean I don't see the vision.
All right. Let me flip this. This guy thinks what if we underrated the power of regen?
I don't know about that. I think everyone knows the power of regen. I think.
What if we still underrated
preseason power rankings are strictly about the teams, right? And then this is about the point in the season where it starts becoming more about the players and how they're working. Now, I knew going into this, Drew was going to be goated in Crystal. I played him a couple times in BSDL, Black and White, and he was really strong there. He had a really strong team. He had really strong building, and he was really good at actually playing the games out. He and I played finals actually, and I barely beat him. And so going into those, I was like, all right, low key, doesn't matter what team this guy has. He's gonna be in finals. Like that was my guess. I said it's gonna be him in finals, it's gonna be Klecker in finals. I got faith in Drew. This guy's the GOAT. Even if we didn't think the team was like that great in preseason power rankings, my faith in the Black Diamond Tyranitars never wavered, and I gotta say it's paying off.
At some point, I think I'm gonna go back through the games and I'm gonna calculate what the effective HP on the Toxapex and Mungus and Slowking have been, because these things switch out so much and come back, and you have to kill them. Like, this is a thing in tennis where when you're playing against like some of the top players, you like something that would be a winner, something that would like win the point for you against the top guys, you'd have to hit like 2 or 3 of them just to put them away. So you're trying to work so hard that you have to win the point 2 or 3 times in order to actually get the point win. That's what it's like playing against the Black Diamond Tyranitars, because you can't put away the Slowking, Amoonguss, Toxapex, and 2 of them have come to every single game. You just can't put them down because Drew doesn't let them go below like 30 or 40% HP, and then they just come back and they keep coming back. Drew's hazard removal isn't fantastic. I think he was a little worried about the hazard threat on the Limber Luchadores game. So he brought Cinchino, and brought a set that was able to survive and like hang around and tidy up. I just he's playing this very well. I want to see maybe Rex in that week 8 game identify some strategies, maybe a couple knockoffs, putting down the hazards that can eventually chip this triple regen core down. Surely, I don't like undefeated teams and divs. Surely we can find a solution against the 5-0 Black Diamond Tyranitars.
I don't know, man. If history has told us anything, it's that undefeated teams never do well in playoffs.
Yeah.
So, I haven't even talked about the rest of the schedule yet. We've got Lavs. I think Drew's gonna kind of own this one. It's like Lavs' team. I don't think has the juice to punch through the triple regen. Then we've got Glasgow, which is that the Darkrai team? I think it's the Darkrai team. So I don't think Darkrai team is going to be able to break through Slowking Pex and Moongas either. Maybe it can.
Take its on.
Get some Thunders, I think. And then Rex is, I think, going to be the hardest game. But even then, it's still very winnable. Oh yeah, take it on into Darkrai. Bug unplayable. Holy, yeah, it's gonna be rough for Drew's opponents here.
Slitherwing.
Uncertain unknowns.
Bring in the Darkrai. Slitherwing comes into either AV Slitherwing or
True.
it's like Boots with a first impression.
I don't even know how you play that game. All this just for Necrozma to DD up and win too. We haven't even talked about the Bloodmoon yet, the kill leader. It's been doing like sub calm mind stuff. Like it's been cooking. I feel for people that have to actually hold on. Jarv, look at this team. Only 3 of them don't have recovery.
Tankaton,
Moon, Bloodmoon, Slowking, Hearthflame, Slitherwing, and Moongus, Necrozma, and Pex all heal themselves. Kill me now, bro. Anyways.
All right, so we're doing a challenge in the off season where Don is going to play Drew. Drew's going to keep the same team, but Don is going to play with every iteration that he's previously used in the PBO, and he's going to try to find solutions for the ultimate regen team, the Black Diamond Tyranitars Season 10 Crystal.
I found the solution, and the solution is playing in Generation 2 where there are no abilities.
And with that, we are finished with the mid-season Crystal PRs. Don, any final predictions, final words for the division?
Crystal, keep it up. This is a very interesting div. It's nice that like there's only like 1 or 2 teams that are pulling ahead, and even then, it's not like by an unbeatable amount. Like this is a very tight div. But there are like 6 teams at 2 and 3 here, which is like almost half the div. And then the other half of the div's 3 and 2, and then you have a couple guys that are like 4 and 1. Like it's just, I don't know.
Fun div.
Keep it up, guys.
Fun div. Good amount of culture. I like the coaches that are trying out different stuff. Keep doing what you're doing. Good luck in your final games. Should be some close fights. I'm sure some of you will get haxed. Yeah, sorry about that. That's Mons.
That's Mons. Adios, Crystal.